Hey y'all, I'm Joel. I'm going to be your event MC for the evening. I'm actually a graduate here of Maryville College, class of 2010. Yeah. Judging by the audience, we have some class of 1910 in here. So I appreciate y'all staying out past your bedtimes for us to celebrate this evening, but it is honestly such an honor to be a part of this amazing event. This is the 203rd Founders Day celebration, everyone. So welcome aboard here. So the Ken Takahashi Award is given to an alumnus or alumna who is within 20 years of his or her graduation from Maryville College, lived a life characteristic of college legend Ken Takahashi, who in his 36 years of living worked tirelessly for betterment of his alma mater, his church, and society. Corey Howard, like me, member of class of 2010, yeah, I just dabbed, okay. He will become the 25th alumnus to receive this award, but before we hear from Corey, let's enjoy this video presentation we put together in his honor.
I grew up in Athens, Tennessee, so it's about an hour between Knoxville and Chattanooga. The youngest of three, pretty standard blue-collar family growing up in Athens. For a good chunk of my life, it was kind of just me and my mom after my parents got divorced. But we lived right down the road from my grandparents, which was nice because they were very supportive. And I was really close with my mom and my papa. I'm the first person to go to college. I think a big motivator for me growing up in a small town was being gay, so I really wanted to get out of a small town, and I came out when I was in high school, but I had a very close group of friends, and they were very supportive. It's really helped me get through those years, freshman through senior year, and it was one of those friends that actually introduced me to Maryville College. Like I said, I'm an introvert, kind of shy by nature, and so for college, it's kind of a fresh start for me, so I tried to get involved with as much as I could. So I think I was in like 5 or 6 clubs freshman year of college. I think I had a club meeting pretty much every evening for the most part. My freshman year, I joined, it was kind of like the local LGBT group. It was Campus League of Students for Equal Treatment, which was called Closet. It just isn't the best term, but that was what it was called back in the day. And so it was actually only 3 of us. But then me and another student really focused our sophomore year on kind of building it up. And so we probably quadrupled in size with attendance and membership. And then we really pushed to have the name changed. So we changed it from Closet to Gay Straight Alliance. So yeah, one great thing about Maryville College, even though I was a minority being a gay man, I think there was still so much support from other students and faculty member that I didn't feel alone. And so even though I was a minority within a smaller group, I think that a lot of the love and support from just the student body in general and the campus administration in general made it feel welcoming. So I think one reason why I'm so passionate about health disparities and just the injustices when it comes to the inequity I think we have in the community and the United States in general is Maryville College had such a huge social justice piece. So for example, I did a J-term trip where we did the Road to Social Justice one year and did a tour of the South through the different museums and different areas, really kind of tracking the civil rights movement that happened in the South with the bus boycotts, etc. And I think that was the theme throughout all of our professors at Maryville College, is that thread of social justice. Like no matter what class you had, even if it was humanities or mathematics, there was always a thread of social justice at Maryville College. And I think that has really encompassed and stayed with me as an adult in all the work that I do. One of the programs at Maryville College is for getting a nonprofit management certification. I think at the time it was called American Humanics. That really kind of led me towards working in the nonprofit field because we had to do an internship one year, which actually how I ended up landing in Chattanooga. I joined the National Guard in 2011 and then immediately deployed to Jordan and Kuwait. Did a warrior leadership course training and became a sergeant while I was overseas. And then came back and then was stationed with the 1175th in Tullahoma, Tennessee. After I finished my term with the National Guard, I decided not to re-enlist so that way I can pursue my Master's of Social Work at the University of Tennessee. So in 2015, I became the Director of Development and Communication at Chattanooga Cares, which I've been with now for, it's almost been 11 years here. So about 3 years ago, we rebranded as Simply Community Care. And part of the reason for that is because 2 years ago we became a community health center. So now we see anybody for primary care on a sliding fee. One thing I love about Summit Community Care is that we are fast acting and we're small and nimble and we can pivot quickly. So for COVID, for example, in the last 2 years, we were the first organization to go out and do testing out in the community. So we took our mobile clinic out, went to specifically minority communities to go do testing, drive-through testing with our staff before there was any funding for it. So we knew that the call was there to make a difference. So we tested over 10,000 people over 2 years out in the community. And really made a name for ourselves as a result. We got the Governor's Award of Excellence for our work. We got Best Community Health Center in Tennessee for the work that we did with COVID. It's kind of rare for a millennial to work somewhere as long as I have, over a decade. And I think it's the reason is because I love my job, because I make a difference. So I just finished my first year of my doctorate program at the University of Alabama at Birmingham for their executive program in healthcare leadership. So I've got another year of that and then a dissertation to write, which Maryville College has definitely prepared me for since I had to write a thesis, like all Maryville College grads have to their senior year. I couldn't imagine, my path in life the way it's led to me to where I am if I hadn't gone to Maryville College. I don't think if I went to another school would have prepared me for where I am today in life.
My experience at Maryville College taught me was courage, taught me courage to be myself, bold, so it gave me a safe space to be bold and take chances here during my time, and then dedicated. So the values and missions that I see in life, the dedications and foundations were built here at Maryville College, so thank you.
So let's get on with the Alumni Citation here. It has been awarded to an outstanding alumni of the college since 1961. This award may be presented to any alumnus or alumna who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, initiative, or service in his or her community, church, or profession. This year, we have 2 incredibly deserving recipients. I cannot wait for you to hear more about their lives of accomplishment. It is amazing where a Maryville College degree can take you, especially when you travel with a fellow alum. Receiving the 2022 Alumni Citation this evening will be Jim and Madeline Laster, both members the class of 1956. Please enjoy their video presentation.
I grew up in a minister's household. My father was a Presbyterian minister, and the first place I remember living was in Aberdeen, Maryland. Then we moved to Birmingham, Alabama, and then to Mississippi.
I was a child of the North. I was born in 1935, and we were living in Bergenfield, New Jersey. My mother was playing the piano in the living room, so my dad could practice his solo for the church the next day, which was a Sunday. And I marched in, a 4th grader, and I announced like I was at some official thing, I'm going to marry a man who sings like my father and plays the organ like my mother. And then I turned and walked out of the room.
The day after my high school graduation, which was in '52, and we drove all night from West Tennessee to East Tennessee, pre-interstate highways, so that we could attend the commencement exercise at Maryville the next day. My uncle, my mother's brother, was receiving an honorary doctorate from the college, so we obviously wanted to attend. And sometime in the service, the people on the stage, the robed people, stood up and uttered the most beautiful sound I think I have ever heard come out of a group. And I was smitten at that particular point with choral music. I was keen on being an orthodontist when I went to college, but music took over, and choir was the real reason it took over. Over the decades, I think I have written maybe 300 or 400 pieces of music, some for choir, some for solo, some for organ, some for instruments, learning a lot each time I wrote it. I would say it was the musical organization at the college plus the faculty that focused me into what turned out to be my life.
My roommate, who was going through elementary education, she said, well, come with me and I'll take classes with me. So I did. And it was wonderful. And the teacher was marvelous. I was so glad when I did my student teaching. I had a ball. Westminster Fellowship was always talking about finding God's plan for your lives. And I realized that this is what I really needed to do.
From college, we had a chance to go to Iran to teach in the community school, which was an international English-speaking school. I taught some music there, but basically I was the 8th grade teacher. I knew Madeline was considering maybe a different teaching position than the one she had. So I just kind of jokingly said, why don't you come over to Iran and we'll teach together. Little did I know that my life would be changed with her arrival, and developed a 60-year-long relationship because we were married in Tehran. And we had lived several years in Nashville, and then I had a teaching job in Pennsylvania. And I was at the dissertation phase of my education. An offer came to go to Lebanon to teach at what was then called the Beirut College for Women. And I would be their choral person. Madeline would help out with some education classes. And so we leapt at the chance. It was very much like being in Europe in some ways, only with a Middle Eastern flair. And it was a great place to live.
During our time in Lebanon, I taught methods courses, a children's literature course, and supervised student teachers at Beirut College for Women, which is now Lebanese American University.
I had a chance to be the sabbatical replacement for a very good friend of mine who was teaching at what was then called Shenandoah College and Conservatory of Music. And so what turned out to be 1 year turned out to be 29 years of teaching at Shenandoah.
When we moved back to the United States, I earned my PhD in 1996 from George Mason University, and I spent more than 2 decades teaching in the Winchester City Schools. I also worked overseas again, leading workshops in Lebanon, Egypt, Jordan, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. I authored 2 books about brain-based teaching. Oh, I love teaching, period, and it was wonderful. I loved the kids, and fortunately, they loved me. We got there in 1973, and then, of course, when we hit 2000, we were retired.
And that opened up another world, and I did quite a few theater roles, musical theater roles. So that was a great addition to my life, was to be able to be, quote, an actor. We are so grateful to Maryville College for the opportunity to meet each other and being the wonderful adventure of our life together. I came to Maryville partly because of my parents, who had graduated from here in the class of 1930. And I was settled in my dorm, all this kind of business, went out to the car, excuse me, when my father was driving off, and he leaned out the window and said, "Don't let your studies interfere with your college education." I took him literally for that, and consequently almost flunked out my first semester. But it was a learning experience. As has already been mentioned, choir played a large part of that, understanding faculty. And it was a great time here, and we were very, very grateful for those years, and especially honored to be recognized in this particular way. And our thanks and appreciation for our time at Maryville is unending. Thank you very much.
You take the high road and I take the low road, and I'll be in
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Joel. Thank you to all the supporters of the college. Thank you, all of Kilter members, past and present, and congratulations, Corey, Jim, and Madeline. Most importantly, to all of our alumni, welcome home. The Maryville College spirit is certainly soaring high tonight, and it makes me even more proud to be serving this institution as the 12th president. My wife, Sarah, who's with me tonight, our family, and I are so glad you're here and hope to have the opportunity to speak with you at some point this weekend. I'll say that homecoming here is always such a, even last year as our somewhat recovered pandemic homecoming went, it's such a humbling experience for me to think that I am serving as president of an institution that all of you love so very, very much. I hope you have a perfect homecoming weekend. The weather sure looks that way. A weekend which adds wonderful memories to your Maryville College story. Keep in touch, take care, and as always, go Scots.